Okay, so here we have just a simple program. We've got an array called values. The size is 6. It calls a function show array. Um, Show array just displays all the elements inside of the array so you can see what they look like. And then it calls the selection sort function to sort the array, and then it displays the sorted array when it's finished. So let's just take a look at what it looks like. Right, here's the original array, and then here you can see the array is sorted in ascending order. Okay, so let's just take a look at the selection sort code. You bring in the array and the size. Notice the array is going to change, so this, you certainly wouldn't want to make that constant. And there's a nested for loop, okay? And what this nested for loop does is the outer loop, right, will actually keep track of where you're starting in the array. The first time through it's going to start at index 0. It'll make that the minimum element, and it'll look through all the rest of the arrays trying to find a smaller element, and then it'll swap them. So the effect of the first time through the for loop is the smallest element is going to be at index 0 when you finish. So the first one starts at index 0, right? It makes our minimum index 0. It makes our minimum value whatever element is currently stored in index 0, and in this array it would be 5. And then the inner for loop will go through from index 1 through the rest of the array, and it checks to find if something is smaller. So now if array sub 1 is smaller than our minimum value, let's just take a peek. If 7 is smaller than 5, right, that's false. So it'll bypass the if statement and it'll look at the next element. So now our index is going to be 2. So if what's at index 2 is smaller than the minimum value, right? Index 2 is right here. Is 2 smaller than 5? Yes, it is. So that makes 2 become the new smallest value. And so you'll see here, if that's true, it sets the minimum value to 2 and the minimum index to 2 in this case, because element 2 happens to be at index 2. And then it just goes through the rest of the array. So this inner loop will then look at 8, which is not smaller than 2, 9, which is not smaller than 2, and 1 is smaller than 2. So 1 is going to become our minimum value, and its index is 5. So what you do here is really you're swapping, you're taking that element at the minimum index and you're putting in the first one, you know, because right now start scan is 0, so you're taking whatever's in the first index of the array, index 0, and you're storing it, you know, at index 5 right now, and you're taking your new minimum value, and what you said is 1, and we're putting it at index 0. So what this step right here, these two little lines of code are doing, are they're taking the smallest element that they found, they're putting the 5 in this location and putting the 1 in this location. So after that first pass through, the array is going to look like this: 1, 7, 2, 8, 9, 1. 8, 9, 5, sorry. And we know that this portion of the array is sorted. So the next time it goes through, start scan starts at index 1, it makes this the minimum element, and it continues to look through the remaining array for something smaller, and it does a similar swap. So that's kind of why you have that nested for loop. So let's just go down, take a peek at this again, right? So every time through, the outer for loop is going to look at less elements because it already has like this sorted portion of the array it does not need to look at.